So one of the most controversial decisions I've made as a mom, but also one of the most rewarding decisions I made, is potty training my son early. Starting elimination communication. If you don't know what that is, I will explain, but starting those things early. It resulted in my son being potty trained by 18 months, and by some people's definition of potty training, it could have been earlier, but I'm just going to go with 18 months. And my son is 19 months now, and I am currently about 30 weeks pregnant with my second. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to sit down and talk about this journey that I've been on, especially all the tips and tricks, things I did wrong along the way and things I did right, and just some really awesome milestones. If you are interested in this, if you're interested in doing this, or even if you think I'm crazy, stick around to the end of this video because I have so much to share, and it's super awesome. It's, again, literally the most rewarding thing I have done. So first of all, why on earth would you want to potty train early? Like I already mentioned, it's a very controversial topic if you live in America. I live in Texas. Like, in other cultures, they potty train early, but here, not really. So why would you want to do this? I think the really big selling point for me, and like the reason why I really stuck with it, is because once I started seeing signs where my baby was telling me, like, I need to go potty at a very early age, then I was like, oh my gosh, if I wasn't doing this, then I'm kind of like robbing my kid of this skill that they can do and know how to do. So if my kid is telling me at 6 months, giving me some cue at 6 months, I need to go potty, and I'm able to take them to the potty, but yet sometimes people in America, for example, currently I believe that the average potty training age is 36 months. So if I chose to wait until then, I'm like robbing my child of months of like sitting in disgusting diapers, when in reality my baby literally can tell me that they need to go potty. It's so awesome and so cool, and I just feel like if I wasn't doing this, I'm robbing him of like this skill that he knows how to do. Another positive about this whole situation is that you don't have to buy diapers anymore once they're potty trained. So I'm saving like however long, another 18 months potentially of buying diapers. So that's really cool. Plus, I am currently 30 weeks pregnant with my second baby, and so to have two under 2 and be changing 2 diapers, I know I could do it, and people do it all the time, but to have that super awesome luxury of not having to do that and having a baby that is potty trained when I have another baby that is not going to be, is super cool and awesome. I already kind of mentioned this, but the last thing I'm going to say about why you should do this is because it is so incredibly rewarding to see them tell you that they need to go potty before they can even speak. Like, my son cannot say a sentence. He can only say like a couple words, and yet he can tell me poop and go poop. He can take himself to the potty, sit down by himself. Like, he knows when he needs to go. It's just so cool. Whenever you go out somewhere and he tells you he needs to go potty, like, it's so rewarding, so awesome, so cool. Of course, there's a lot of ups and downs with this journey if you choose to go on it, and I'm going to explain my whole journey, and I'm going to give all the tips and tricks that I learned along the way, and I hope that they're going to be super helpful, because if I would have known them before I started this, if I would have had like my mom doing this and she was able to help me and tell me these things, that would have been so helpful and awesome. But that's just not where we are today, and so I hope that this video is super helpful for you, whether you think I'm crazy or if you think this is really cool. Stick around, I might change your mind. Well, not if you think it's really cool, because it is really cool, so I'll help you. So I'm first just going to explain a quick little journey through our elimination communication, which, if you don't know what that is, it's basically just communicating with your child, looking for cues, no matter how young they are. They could be a day old, 3 months, 6 months, it doesn't matter. And you're just looking for communication between you and the baby that's saying the baby needs to go potty, and then you take them to go potty. So that is basically all it is. It's when they're too young to really be potty trained, they call it elimination communication, because you're looking for the signs instead of them telling you they need to go potty. First heard this on a podcast, and I just thought it was interesting. I wasn't sure where it was going to lead or how rewarding, or if I really wanted to do it, like fully do it. But I started that at about 6 weeks, and it was really fun and really cool, especially when you have like a 6-week-old, 8-week-old, whatever baby, and you catch a pee in the toilet, or you catch a poop, or whatever. Like, it's super cool that you can like see those signs so early on. And even there's times when you just like get this little intuition, like, I think they need to go potty, and then you take them and they go. It's so awesome. There's a resource called Go Diaper Free. There's a podcast and a book and a website, and I will link that below. But they have a lot of really cool resources, and I bought their book and read that. It's not just a normal book that you read like cover to cover. It's like more a resource to have throughout this whole journey, but it was super helpful. So if you were looking to start this journey early, then I would definitely recommend getting that book. So I started learning more and more about how to easily look for signs and signals that your baby needs to go potty, and how to just like do this without causing a lot of stress and anxiety. And also, you don't want to try to take your baby to the potty, especially when they're 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old, 10 weeks old, whatever. Like, you don't want to add that stress and like do it every second. So you just want to look for small, easy opportunities to catch things. So for example, I knew that once my baby ate, a lot of times he would go pee or poop afterwards. So after he ate, maybe I would take him to the potty then. Or maybe I found that when he first woke up in the morning, he liked to pee or poop, so I would take him then. Or maybe it was every time I took him out of the car seat, he would pee or poop. So any little opportunities you see like that, where you're like, you notice that they pee a lot during that, or poop a lot at that certain time, or maybe it is just a certain time of the day, or maybe it's just your intuition is telling you, hey, I think my baby needs to go potty. Just try taking them and see what happens. Because that's what I did for the first few months. I would say from that 6-week mark to the 5-month mark is when we just did the like easy catches, and it worked out really well, and it wasn't very stressful. By 6 months, we were doing it quite a bit. So more than just like once a day, we would do it maybe like 2 or 3 times a day. You know, when he woke up, after he ate, and then maybe like before the bath, because a lot of times before the bath, as soon as the bath starts running, he needs to go potty. And so that was a really easy catch for us. One thing I do want to mention is when you're in these early stages and you go to take your little baby to the potty, especially if it's in public, which you definitely don't have to do at the beginning. I did not do that at the very beginning. I think I started doing that at about 6 months. So I'm just saying, whenever you do decide to do that, people are either going to look at you like you are insane, you're crazy, you're dumb, what is wrong with you? Or they're going to look at you like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, tell me more, I want to know about this. So lots of judgment, very controversial, but just so you're prepared. So by the time my son was 10 months, he was walking. So I would always have the potty anywhere we were. So if we were in the living room, in the kitchen, I would take it in the car with us. I had a little mini potty, which I'll also link below if you're interested. It's super cute, super small, and really easy to clean. So I would always have that, and super easy to like take with you. We took it on vacation, like super easy. But I would always have that around because he had started getting into the groove of like going to grab the potty or touching the potty when he needed to go. And so that was like a red flag, obviously, and very easy to know, hey, I need to go potty. And so just always having that in sight or having it to where he could walk to was super helpful. Okay, so now let's skip to 13 months. At 13 months is when I started hearing more and more like stories and things about babies who were potty trained by 12 months, by a year. And I was like, if they can do it, then why can't I do it? And I was kind of getting tired of changing diapers because every time you would change him, he would roll away, which is a sign that they're done with diapers. Like, they don't want to sit there and have you wipe them and get on their back. Like, that's a sign that they're done with it and they're ready to move on. So, at 13 months, I decided we're done with diapers, and we just went straight up undies at all times except for when he went to sleep. Through the night, I did not want to even go down that journey. So daytime, always undies at 13 months. So I'm not gonna lie, the first week was super rough. Like, so many pees, so many poops in his undies. It was terrible. I was like, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? This week is horrible. But then I started getting a hint of the light because my son, around the end of that first week, he would actually point to his diaper or his undies, and I knew he needed to go pee or he needed to go poop, or he was signaling to me, hey, like, I already did this, but that still was a good sign to me because he was recognizing, like, hey, I peed myself, I need to change. So once I saw that and I like saw that something was actually happening with him and he was learning, I was like, this is awesome, we're going to keep going. Another thing that really helped that first week is doing a lot of naked time. We did not leave the house because I was kind of scared. Like, I didn't want him to pee or poop when we went somewhere and I was nervous about it. So I just like really stayed in the house, and I did a lot of naked time with him where I could see like very visibly and very quickly if he needed to pee or poop, and I would always have that potty next to me. So that was super helpful. So during that second week, I was catching almost all the poops, which was super awesome. Like, he would either point to his diaper or his undies, I keep saying that. He would either point to his undies and I knew he needed to poop, so it was like go time quickly. Or he started making like a little grunting noise, and so I knew that meant we need to go poop. So I was feeling a lot better and things were going super well because still we were struggling with the pees, but the poops were going really well. And another thing, you can still do those like easy catches. So I knew before he took a bath, he needed to go potty, so I just took him to the potty and he would pee, and it was great. So it's not like every time he's peeing on the floor. Like, I still was doing those easy things. After he ate, I knew he needed to go. Or during that second week, we finally started like going places, and so I knew once we got home and I took him out of the car seat, he needed to go pee. So I was catching a lot of pees, just not him telling me he needed to pee, and I was catching a lot of poops. Sometimes he was telling me, sometimes he wasn't. So during that third week, another really scary thing, we went on vacation. So we went on a 7 or 8 hour car ride, and I'm not gonna lie, we did use diapers in the car, just because he still didn't really have a way to tell us that he needed to go potty. So like the potty signal is this with your hand, and I was doing that and trying to teach him that, but he just hadn't caught on yet. He also couldn't say any words, so he could say like mama, dada, but he couldn't say I need to pee or I need to poop. So it just didn't seem right for me to sit him in underwear when he can't tell us he needs to go pee or poop. It just didn't seem right. So that third week on the car ride, he did wear a diaper, but throughout the whole entire vacation, aside from going to bed, he wore undies, and I promise you, it seems like crazy. It's only the third week, plus he's out of his element and on a vacation, but he literally only peed himself 2 or 3 times out of a whole week of being there. Like, he did so great. I always had the potty out so he could see it, and if he needed, he could grab it, and then I always was looking for those opportunities that I knew, hey, he's gonna pee, because he always pees after X, Y, and Z. So it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. Now, when we got home from vacation, so this is about week 4, it was kind of a disaster. I thought we were just going to pick up where we left off. I thought he was going to tell me when he needed poop. He was going to point or grab the potty or something. I didn't even have to worry about it. I was like so confident. So I kind of let the ball drop, and we had a ton of accidents. And I realized like now he's back in his normal environment, but it was like a whole thing. So if you are doing this journey and you go on vacation or do something like that, just know like you might have a little bit of a setback when you get home, like I did. Maybe not, but that is just my experience. But after I realized like I need to be more diligent about this, then we got back on track the next week and everything was back to normal. So another little setback happened at 17 months. So we were just continuously doing what we were doing. He was telling me about all his poops, and he was telling me sometimes when he needed to pee, but again, he still wasn't getting the potty signal, and he wasn't able to say poop or pee yet. And around 17 months, he started not wanting to go to the potty anymore. He just was refusing, and he was upset. I don't know why. He just was like so angry about it. And one thing that we were doing, if I was taking him to the potty when he was younger, so like 10 months, a year, 13 months probably, maybe even to like 15 months when he went to the potty, I would always have like a book or a toy or whatever. And so he was cool to sit there for a few seconds and like play. And then eventually he would pee or poop. We would sit there for, I don't know, like 2 to 5 minutes, something like that, play with the toy, read a book, whatever, and then he would pee, and then we would be done, and all would be great. But then he started taking advantage of that. So we would be in the middle of eating, maybe he was done and he was playing on the floor, and he would say, oh, I need to go potty. He'd bring us the potty and a book and expect us to stop what we're doing and let him go potty, which we did every time. But honestly, he just wanted to play a lot of the time. He did not want to actually go potty. So what I did to combat this and help him to not keep playing us like he was, I did away with the toys at about 17 months, and I was like, we're just gonna go potty instead. I still do a countdown sometimes. I'll say 1, 2, 3 potty, and that has been super helpful because I think making him sit there for a while in the anticipation that he's going to potty, I think it just made him angry. So that's why at 17 months he was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So we don't do toys anymore. We just strictly use the potty to go potty, and a lot of times that countdown helps, and he will go potty. He knows, oh, it's time to do this, and as soon as I'm done, I'm getting off. So that has really helped. And another thing that really helped when he was not wanting to go potty anymore is giving him privacy. So I realized when you're like staring at him and putting all the focus on him and like pressure, of course he's not going to want to relax and go to the bathroom and like pee on command. So I would just put him on the potty, let him do his thing. I would kind of ignore him, act like I wasn't looking, I didn't care, I didn't know what was going on. Maybe I would like look at a book or something like that, but still like knowing that he's there, or I'd turn my back to him or anything that gave him more privacy, and that helped a ton. I didn't think it would. I just heard on the Facebook group that that was a thing, and so I was like, no, not with my kid. He poops and pees in front of me all the time. But it really does make a difference. Like, he wants to not be stared at when he goes to the bathroom. So once we got to 18 months, he started saying the word poop and actually going to the potty when he needs to poop. So now he is able to communicate that with us, which is super awesome. He can say the word. He also, at 18 months, started doing the hand signal. So if he needs to go poop or pee, he'll give us a little hand signal, and runs to the bathroom, which is super awesome. Now that he is able to communicate with us, he's able to verbally tell us when he needs to go potty, he's able to show us when he needs to go potty, he's either able to point, he knows where the potty is, he's able to take himself there, he knows when he needs to pee, when he needs to poop, all those things. I think that is what I would describe as potty trained. Now that doesn't mean he's never going to have an accident again, of course. I mean, I was talking to my husband about this the other day, and he was like, I had an accident in the 4th grade. And he's obviously potty trained by 4th grade. And I literally peed myself like 2 weeks ago because I was laughing so hard. Maybe also because I'm pregnant, I don't know. But I definitely did that because I was laughing. And so I'm obviously potty trained, but sometimes you have accidents. So just because he's potty trained, I don't think that that means he's never going to have an accident again. Sometimes I'm not paying complete attention to him, or maybe he's like playing something and he gets distracted and he pees himself, and then he'll tell me. And a lot of the time, every time he has an accident, I always take him to the potty so he knows where pee goes in the potty. Not in her pants, but every time I do that, and after an accident, he almost always pees the rest of his pee, so I know that it's an accident. It's not like he just was like, I'm just gonna full out pee right here. It's like, I waited too long, or I'm testing my boundaries, or whatever it is. So for me, he's completely potty trained. Although that, again, doesn't mean you're never going to have an accident again. So that has basically been our journey. I have a lot of notes here for all the tips I learned along the way that I want to share. So I'm just going to run down this list of things that I wrote down that I remember that could help you if you are trying to go on this journey that is super fun, super awesome, but also has some troubleshooting coming along with it. So the first tip I would give is, once you start, do not give up. Once you give up diapers and go diaper free and just commit to the potty training undies or whatever, don't go back. It can be tempting, especially that first week was a struggle, but don't give up, because you don't want to give them this idea that you're wishy-washy and you're going to try it for a few days and then not. It's very confusing. Just go with it and it will just get better, I promise you. Another thing I would suggest is not keeping them in their dirty undies or dirty diaper for a long time. I know that's something that people do to kind of potty train, I guess, as a punishment, you stay in your wet, soiled undies or whatever, but don't do that. Definitely, you don't want them to get used to sitting in their own filth and wetness and stuff. You don't want them used to that feeling. Who wants to be used to that feeling? I don't know. Another thing is, never get angry. It can be very frustrating, especially when you know that they know where to go potty and when to go potty and how to tell you and all the things. And sometimes I think that they're either testing how long can they go. They're learning themselves, or maybe they're distracted by playing something really cool because they're a kid, or maybe they're in a new environment and so they just have an accident, or maybe they don't feel like they have enough privacy. So there's all these things that go into it, and I just think that getting angry about it is the wrong way to go, especially when you're doing this at such a young age. Another thing that is silly that I kind of got in my head about is when we started going in public and he was just wearing undies, I was like, oh no, what if he goes potty here? But in reality, what's more embarrassing? Your kid having an accident at 4 because you just started potty training, or your kid at 1 going potty somewhere on accident because you're potty training? Of course, a 1-year-old is going to have accidents. It just seems backwards that I would be embarrassed for my 1-year-old who is trying to learn to go potty and having an accident. I shouldn't be embarrassed about that at all, because they're little and they're learning. So that's just something that I would say, if you have that mental block of being embarrassed about it, don't be. And people probably are going to look at you and think, oh, your baby is 1 and you're potty training them and they had an accident in public, like it's your fault because 1-year-olds shouldn't be pottied. But that's not true. And 1-year-olds are potty trained all the time. We just don't really hear about it because of the diaper industry and the way that America is right now. So if you are judged harshly in public, don't worry. I have been too. It's okay. And just keep going because it is so rewarding at the end of it. Another thing to keep in mind is anyone watching your kid needs to be on board. So I have some people who are not on board, like family members who would not take my kid to the potty when they're 1 or 13 months or 14 months or whatever, even now. And that's fine, but you're not watching my child because this is what we're doing. So if you take your kid to daycare, there are daycares that will do this with you. There are churches that will respect what you're doing and like be okay with you having your kid in underwear, or grandparents or whatever. Just make sure that they're on board, especially your husband. Make sure that they're on board because you don't want them to wear undies one day and then they're kept with someone else and they wear diapers. Like that's very, very confusing. You want to like stick to whatever you're doing. And if someone's not on board, I know it's so unfortunate, but I would look for another alternative to watch my kid because this was really important to me. I know I already touched on this, but definitely give your kid privacy. So that was a major thing that I learned that was a game changer, is just letting him poop in peace. That is a big one. Another thing I already touched on, but doing the 1, 2, 3 potty, that was super helpful. I think it also just gave him like the reassurance that, oh, it's time to go right now. And as soon as we're done, I'm done. So that was super helpful. Another thing that you can do that really helped, just like give them more interest in what they're doing and going to the potty, is let them do as much as they can. So maybe they're really little, they can't walk yet, but maybe they can turn the light on. So every time you go to the potty, you can have them turn the light on to the bathroom. And so it's kind of part of your like potty routine, or maybe they're able to like swing the door shut, or maybe they're able to pull down their pants, or whatever like routine you can get in. That can be really helpful. And also just giving them something to do, or like if they can flush the toilet, sometimes that's fun for them. Or I would not let them wipe at a very, very young age, but sometimes it was fun for my son to get a piece of toilet paper and like put it between his legs. So that's another like little fun thing that you can do that makes it a routine. Another thing that was super helpful is that Go Diaper Free book, website, podcast situation. They also have a Facebook group that I joined, which is really helpful because if you're ever going through like a struggle, then you can look it up or ask questions in the group and kind of see what other people did. And a lot of the issues, troubleshooting, are the same from mom to mom. So it's really cool to just hear different perspectives and how other people work through it. And you can take tips and tricks from other moms and apply that to your own situation. Another thing I would say is listen to your gut. That is a big one. There are so many times when I was like, I think he needs to go potty right now. But I'd be like, no, it's probably fine. And then he would pee, or then he would poop like 2 seconds later. Like, you just know at a point. Like, once you're watching them and you're around them for so long, it's like, you know, I'm telling you. But sometimes I just didn't listen to my intuition, and I don't know why. And those were the times when I should have just taken him, and I didn't. Another thing that's kind of along the same lines is don't second guess a signal. So there would be times when my son would like point. I thought he pointed, and I was like, do you need to go potty? He would say no, and I was like, but he pointed, I'm pretty sure. And then I would just let it go, and then he'd pee. And I'm like, what? Why? I knew that he needed to go, and I just didn't take him. And so I would suggest not doing that, because I have done that so many times where I've just realized like, oh, he did tell me, but then I didn't listen to it. Not intentionally, but after I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so obvious. So when you see a signal, don't ignore it. I'd also say don't obsess over it. So there were times where I would get really into it and I'm like, we have to go potty all the time. You cannot have any accidents. And that stress and anxiety is just not worth it at all. And they're going to get it. They will. But there also might be accidents along the way, and that's okay. And I just wish I would have realized that and just realized, like, it's okay to pick up pee every once in a while. Of course, you don't want pee and poop all over your house, but it's not that big of a deal when they just, like, pee in their pants one time. Like, I just think that I put a lot of pressure on it sometimes, and it really wasn't necessary, and it's not the end of the world for you to pick up pee. So yeah, there are just times when I wish I wouldn't have put so much pressure on the situation and just realize that sometimes he's going to have accidents and it's going to be okay, and it's not the end of the world to pick up some pee. Picking up poop is way worse, I will say that, but it's not the end of the world, and they're gonna have accidents and it's gonna be okay. And adding that, like, stress and pressure of catching everything is so not worth it, and you'll get burnout. I also already kind of touched on this, but it's not embarrassing for your little baby to have an accident. Yes, people are gonna judge a lot of the time, and that's okay. It's fine. Just know there are so many people that are doing this as well, and there are also so many people around the world doing this, and it's not embarrassing, and it is developmentally appropriate. They can do it. They definitely can do it. You don't have to wait till your kid is 3 to potty train them. And yeah, I just hope that this list was helpful. I hope that my journey was helpful, because it's been a lot, but it's super exciting, super rewarding. It's like the number one thing people ask me about, whether they're judging or not. People really think it's cool, because not a lot of people where I'm from do this. And so if you're interested in this at all, again, I'll put those resources below. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'm so happy to help or answer anything that maybe I missed, or if you have a question about, let me know. And thank you for watching.